What's going on, everybody? I'm Terrence, and this is Bank Shipping. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Monday morning. Hope everybody had a good weekend, but now the weekend is over, so it's back to that grind. If you ain't up, go ahead and get up and start that grind. We are back here in Baltimore. I know I said I wasn't going to come back here. At least that's what I thought. But then if you watched the last video, I actually ended up bringing my first full 53-foot load back to the same place in Baltimore. So we are here, got unstrapped, and now I'm just waiting to finish get unloaded. I think they got 1 or 2 skids left. And then we will get out of here, head back to the customer. So I'll catch y'all there. All right, guys, so we got our load dropped off this morning in Baltimore, headed back to the customer, and got loaded for our load that drops off tomorrow morning. That goes to Alexandria, Virginia, just outside of DC. But not in like the heart of Alexandria where you got the city, tight streets and all that. This place is basically just right off the Beltway, so should be easy in, easy out, but you never know down in that area because traffic is horrible, and you know, with the commuters and everything, and so you have accidents and all that good stuff. So you know, something that could roughly take, you know, an hour and a half to get to could turn into 3-4 hours real quick. So stay tuned to see what the morning has in time for us. But whatever happens, we'll go with it. But then after we drop that off, we got to come back to the customer and get another load. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this old girl jumping into a semi. I know I did a video before about how it seemed like a lot of hotshots were jumping into the semi world. So now phone says no caller ID. I'm not answering. But anyway, so now that I've been in this for about 3 weeks, I wanted to talk more about what it's like jumping from a hot shot to a semi. So it's going to be different depending on who you are, what you've experienced, and things like that. You know, if you're a hot shot and you've been in a pickup for a while, but you're used to driving bigger vehicles, you know, of course, it's just a readjustment period. You know, I'm used to driving bigger vehicles, so, you know, jumping from my pickup to this, it wasn't hard. You know, I was able, it took me a day or two, you know, to get, you know, my bearings straight as far as the, you know, how the trailer rode, how it turned and things like that, how the truck turned and things like that. It took me about a day or two to get used to it, and after that, boom, I was good. But you know, if you've never driven something bigger than your hot shot, it may take longer, a bit longer of adjustment period. You know, the same as if, you know, you're not used to driving vehicles with air brakes, or, you know, if you're jumping into a semi that's manual, if you're not used to driving something that's manual, you know, there's a lot of adjustment, you know, to get used to, because this thing is, you know, or any semi is by far a pickup. You know, it is way different. It handles different. You know, it accelerates different. It brakes different. But I must say, one thing that is great about it is it handles the weight different. You know, the stuff that I haul, you know, isn't really that heavy, but this insulation on my hot shot was so tall that it was just a wind drag, you know, so you could really, even though it wasn't heavy, you could really, you know, you definitely knew it was back there just because of how tall it was. But in this thing, you don't even feel it. You know, it goes down the road just fine. I don't have to throw as many straps, you know, because it doesn't catch the wind as much, so I'm not trying to keep that wrapping in or anything like that. So it's a lot different. You know, so if you guys are in hot shot and you're thinking about moving a semi, you know, depending on what you do, it might be great for your business. You know, for me, I needed the deck space for a longer trailer, so to be more apt to the job, I jumped into a semi to pull that trailer. I could have bought a 4500 or a 5500, and it probably could have done the job, but I wanted a semi for the longevity and the comfortability and all that things, because at the end of the day, 4500s and 5500s are still pickup trucks. They still fall under, they might be in a different class, but they still fall under a pickup truck in my eyes. There's still got, the same axles, brakes, motor. So I still consider them a pickup truck. And I just didn't want to run another pickup truck down into the ground, so that's why I jumped to a semi. But, for the people who are thinking about jumping to a semi, if that is where your business is taking you, it definitely is a great investment. You can do a lot more with a semi, even if it is like mine, that's a single axle. You can still do a lot more, with a semi than what you could do a pickup. Like my semi, I'm grossed at 72,000 in this with my setup now, whereas my Hotshot setup was grossed at 37. So I almost doubled my weight capacity. Not saying that I need it or that I'm going to use all of it, but the fact of the matter is it's there if I do need it to get me out of a bad spot. So you are gaining something if you go from Hotshot to a semi. But just because everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people seem to be going from Hotshot to semi, doesn't mean that you have to. If your customers or the freight that you're running does perfectly fine with a Hotshot setup, with a pickup, stay there. There's no rush or no need to jump into a semi if you don't need to, or if you're not comfortable to. The last thing we need is, for more people to jump into a semi that might not know what they're doing, and cause, accidents or just be more dangerous on the road than what we had before. So kind of keep that in mind. Don't let keeping up with the Joneses make you think that you need to jump into a semi. So, with that being said, I've had a couple questions, people saying, do you still consider yourself a hotshot? Well, I never really considered my hotshot or myself to be a hotshot in the first place. The reason I say that is, yes, I had a hotshot setup, and yes, when I post these videos, I post them as hotshot vlogs, just because that is what the market calls us. But me, the way my business structure was set up, I set my business structure up as an LTL and an expedited freight carrier. Never said nothing about hotshot. I'm labeled as a hotshot, but in my business plan, all that stuff, on my website, everything says that I am a expedited and LTL carrier. So now I'm still the same expedited LTL carrier. I just have a 53-foot step deck. That's it. That's the only thing that's changed. Business-wise, I still run the same, or freight-wise, I still run the same freight, still almost at the same weight. So nothing's really changed. So yes, no, I can't really consider myself a hotshot anymore because I'm not in a pickup. But like I said, I really never considered myself a hotshot then. It's just what the label of the market was. So there, for the people wondering, there's your answer. May not be the straightforward answer that you were looking for. So yeah, but I just kind of wanted to throw that out there for people who are, kind of wondering how I'm doing in the semi, from making the jump from hotshot to the semi. Doing great. I love it. Could not be happier. And I don't really see myself going back to a pickup truck. I do want to continue to have pickup trucks in my fleet, hotshots in my fleet. Just not my old setup. I'd like to get something newer so I can put a driver in it and they're comfortable with something newer. But when the time comes, that's what I'll do. So I'll definitely still have hotshots in the fleet. I just probably personally won't go back to driving one just because I'm in love with this thing. I mean, who wouldn't be? Yeah, got me a new hat over the weekend, so you guys don't have to look at the dirty, dingy hat anymore. thinking about, you know, making some hats and shirts and everything, putting them out as merch. Let me know what you guys think about, you know, if you guys would like some merch. You know, that'll kind of determine what I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Got some family things to tend to. Son's got football practice, so I'm gonna catch you guys later. But with that being said, everybody stay prayed up, grind hard, and stay humble.